Hello and a very warm welcome to the Seize the Mains series. Today's topic for the Seize the Mains question is, what is triple dip La Nina? What are the socio-economic impacts associated with triple dip La Nina? Discuss. See, this is a question which is a straight question. One, it is asked about a factual thing, what is triple dip La Nina? And second part of the question which you can break into is, how is this question impacting the socio and economic aspects of the Indian people, or socio-economic impacts of the triple dip La Nina. So this is an analytical part and this is your factual part. So factual part, mostly what you have to do is write the scientific reasons behind it, and when it comes to your analytical part, what you have to do is, in this analytical part you should start to analyze by imparting the current affairs in that particular topic. See here quickly, it is a 250 word question, and in this 250 word question, when you come up with intro, body and conclusion, now what are the pointers that you can use is something I will tell you, and you can write this answer and submit to us. We will evaluate it for you. Now the first part of the introduction which asks about is, what is triple dip La Nina? In the introduction, start to mention that triple dip La Nina is part of the ENSO, which is El Nino Southern Oscillations. Now define it, El Nino Southern Oscillations. What is ENSO? In this El Nino Southern Oscillations, and in this El Nino Southern Oscillations, the triple dip La Nina is a cold phase, which is an intensive cold phase, and this intensive cold phase has led to many socio-economic changes in the various parts of the world. Now start to write about the body. In the body, what you can discuss is explaining the concept of El Nino, that is explaining the concept of La Nina along with ENSO, that is El Nino Southern Oscillations, which are also has El Nino conditions as well as La Nina conditions. Now in the El Nino conditions it is warm, and it is La Nina conditions it is cold. Which part of the oceans it is cold, you have to mention. That means it is Pacific, right? That means the changes in the Pacific Ocean is bringing changes in the Indian Ocean, which finally get some changes in the Indian monsoon seasons, Indian monsoon time periods. That means this monsoon can either become more intensive or it can become very weak, right? Now start to mention the socio-economic significance or the socio-economic impact of this particular El Nino and La Nina, and especially imparting the significance of triple dip La Nina, its socio-economic impacts. Now firstly try to look into the economic impacts. One, India's agriculture sector is the primary sector where 18 to 19% of the GDP is contributing, near about 20. So this 20% of the GDP, in which most of the farmers are relied upon the monsoonal rainfall, because of which, if it is very intensive, that means the crops can get failure. That means it can bring in budgetary associations or the budgetary expenditure of the Fasal Bima Yojana more, right? Now crop failure can be one of the reason, and also it can give good cropping in few areas, right? Now this is the positive socio-economic impact, economic impact. Now the negative impact here, negative impact is, if this particular La Nina season can get out so much of floods, can get in so many floods. An example is your Bengaluru floods, another example is your Kolkata Mumbai floods last year, and the Hyderabad floods in this time. So by using the current affairs, start to elucidate or explain in little more detail while discussing it, right? And also then what you do is bring in the socio-economic causes, sociological causes, or the sociological impacts that are associated. So it will also lead to the increase in the poverty conditions. It will also lead to other various unhindered cost or unhindered expenditures, out of pocket expenditures will be increased on the poverty. Government expenditures, the health infrastructure, which has more pressure, because whenever these flooding like situations into various cities, there can be changes in the socio-economic dimensions as well, right? And then if you can also look here, you can give a diagram to this answer. What is the diagram? start to show the Pacific Ocean and then mention, see, usually the geography answer will never be complete without a diagram, right? You should be very, very innovative while writing these kind of answers. The innovation, if you give it, you will get some additional marks, the tidbit marks. So here this is your east coast of USA, and here the west coast, if you see, this is your Australia, and then you have your Japan and all other coasts. Mostly the changes that you get to see is here. Normal times you will have cold water, and during the times of El Nino southern oscillations, that is La Nina time period pe, you will have extreme cold water. Right, very, very extreme cold water. Now start to write about this diagram while explaining that La Nina condition for 1 year is called as, sorry, this is your La Nina condition, this is your La Nina conditions. Now this La Nina condition, if it is for 1 year, usually this will stay for 2 years, El Nino will stay for 1 year, La Nina can stay up to 2 years. Now triple dip La Nina is nothing but these conditions are prevailing on the India and across the various parts of the world for 3 consecutive year seasons. That is your triple dip La Nina. Okay. Now these are some of the points where you can ponder into in terms of socio-economic, their fisheries habits across the coastline that can get changed, and also the disaster managements on the coastal areas can increase, but the interior lands can have good monsoons. So usually linking up with the current affairs and also getting in the static topic by involving, you have to discuss this answer. Now you can add more points with respect to your reading. Now when it comes to conclusion, it is your area. I usually tell that introduction and body, if you have this intro, body, conclusion. Conclusion is an area or a domain which is open to you or a way forward. Intro and body, in this intro and body you should strictly stick to the question that has been asked. Now in the conclusion what you can do is give out the solutions to deal with these kind of phenomena. Now what is the solution that is possible here? We have to go for resilient agriculture, we should go for resilient cropping pattern, we should go for resilient disaster management, we should build back better, and we should also go for good cropping irrigation. In this we have to use micro irrigation methodologies. Also the hydro engineering, the geologic engineering, hydrogeological engineering, that means the drainage systems across the places that need to be engineered well, so that floods like the Bangalore floods, the floods like Chennai floods can be taken off or can be handled in a better manner. Also while writing, it is always good to mention about the reports of IPCC. IPCC 6th assessment report says that the conditions of the El Nino and La Nina are going to intensify in the further time period. In this context, the impact of the socio-economic can have varied, diversified impacts in which especially the India, an agrarian country, can face the plight of it. Now that also you can write in the introduction, then start to deal with the El Nino, La Nina, and then explain the ENSO conditions, La Nina conditions, and the socio-economic impacts, and try to conclude always with your innovative thoughts. This innovation thoughts of conclusion will always give you the positive impact. That too, the positive impact on the examiner. Okay, say that in the conclusion, furthermore, understanding of this particular El Nino and La Nina conditions is required, and also you can also say that the IPCC report says that proper management, the irrigation, crop management, all these things need to be taken into considerations. Conclusion is your domain. The more you are innovative, the more best conclusions or the best solutions you give, that best points you will get in, right? Thank you guys. Please write your answer and then post it in the Seize the Mains area. The description is below. Thank you guys.